Hi there, Ash. Welcome to your showcase. I'm excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's all right. We're going to be talking all about your work and what inspired you to become an online entrepreneur and how you can help everybody or your ideal client. So first off, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Sarah Negus. I'm the Healer's Healer, a modern day shaman. And we met, didn't we, online?
We did. We've met a few times, actually.
Yeah. And Ash is one of the members on my group, the Healing Club, and the Spiritual Entrepreneur. Are you on that one as well? I'm not sure. Yeah. So both of these groups are set up in the spirit of collaboration and non-competition, which is what these showcases are all about. It's basically to try and get everybody's unique essence out there a little bit more, tell the world what we do and how we do it. So Ash, I'm going to hand over to you and let you introduce yourself.
Awesome. So first I just want to thank you for hosting these. I think it's awesome to just be able to see what everyone does and actually hear everyone's voices and connect. I think it's beautiful. So I just want to say thank you first. So I'm Ashley, and I work with highly sensitive women. So my whole healing practice is built upon highly sensitive women. I'm a highly sensitive person myself, so I've basically lived my life completely against the grain. So everything I've done has been a little bit just done it my own way. So I got married at 19, despite some protests from those around me. So we've been married for 8 years now. And from there, we've just done everything that felt right for us, even if it wasn't quite the normal. So yeah, we've had a pretty interesting experience of life so far. And same thing with my healing practice. So I would have never imagined that I'd be doing healing work. That's not what I pictured at all. But it's the perfect fit. It's absolutely perfect. I was looking for something, seeking for something, like what is it that I'm meant to do? And this is exactly what I'm meant to do. So yeah, everything's happens the way it needs to, and it's worked out just perfectly.
Great. What sort of modality is your healing work, Ash?
So I have a bit of a combination of a few modalities. I've taken about 12 classes in the last 2 years, so I really dove in, and yeah. When I started my healing journey, I was just obsessed. So I took all of these different courses. The main modality I use is called Bodytalk.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a mind-body healing, but I incorporate a lot of different things within. And I've done a lot of spiritual work as well, so there's really just a whole lot of different approaches to healing
That you bring together in one place?
Yes.
Okay.
Especially for highly sensitive women, as much as we have a lot of symptoms that are typical between us, so digestive issues and autoimmune issues and stress and anxiety. But we also have so much more on a spiritual level that we're very commonly going through. So it's being able to just look at the bigger picture and help in all areas.
Okay. That's really interesting. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So as I said earlier, we met online.
Yes.
Which is amazing. I mean, you're all the way over, you're in States or Canada, I can't remember it.
Canada, yes.
Yeah. And I'm based in London, so we get to talk and connect, and that happens, I think, with a lot of my clients that are all around the world. Is that the same with you?
Yes, it's amazing to be able to connect with women all over.
So what first inspired you to kind of make a foray into the online business? What made you want to work remotely, really?
Well, I'm lucky that the work that I do can be done anywhere with anyone. So it's easy that I can work remotely. But what really called me here is I took all these classes, right? I was on my healing journey, was taking all these courses, and I was excited and I wanted to share my work. And so I was trying to build an in-person practice, and I was following all the typical rules of what you're supposed to do to build your practice, and it just wasn't working. And I was getting kind of frustrated. I was thinking, I know how great this is. I've had clients have amazing shifts happen. So what is it that this isn't quite working? And I realized, well, with my ideal clients being highly sensitive women, going to health expos and things are usually quite overwhelming. So I wasn't going to find who I needed to work with there.
No.
And so, no, right? So I needed to broaden my horizons and expand how I was connecting with people so I could really find the people that I resonated with. So moving my practice online, really, that's what it's opened up for me.
Yeah.
Because like I said, there's people all over the world, and you don't have a way to connect with them unless you put yourself out there in a way that they can find you. So yeah, I love being able to work this way now.
Yeah.
And I do have a few in-person clients. Like I usually have a day or two a week because I still love just the connection and working with people in person. But having the ability to connect with women all over is
amazing. Yeah. I have the same thing. I still like to use I still do hands-on work with people here in London.
I love that.
Yeah, and it's just, again, same as you, just a couple of days a week, and I choose my clients. You know, if I feel very strongly drawn towards somebody, then I will work with them one-to-one, person-to-person. But I agree with you with what you say about getting yourself out there to allow people to find you is really important. Mm-hmm. And that's what social media has allowed us to do, hasn't it? I mean,
exactly. And as highly sensitive women, the ability to find healing work and not have to leave your home, and be able to connect, it's perfect, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have so I do often sessions over Skype, but for people that's even too much or overwhelms them, I can do an audio recording. So I have skills to be able to tune into the person, and I audio record the session as I go, so they can experience the session without even having to be live with me on camera or anything like that.
I like it as well when it's just audio, because you can really read the energy. I find that even your own judgments from looking at somebody will sometimes cloud what's coming through you. So I think the audio session is often really powerful.
Yeah. At first I thought, well, how could that be when I first started my work? And I actually built my practice through distance work versus through in-person work. And I was never surprised at some of the things that would shift and change for people in their sessions. I was like, okay, there really is something to this distance work. And that's where I built my practice on, because I realized how powerful it really was.
Yeah. And will continue to be. I think that the more you use it, the more you're going to open up even to an even wider audience. So, Ash, we haven't actually worked together, have we? Have you joined in any? I think you might have joined in one of the group meditations I did in my early days, right back in June when I first came online.
Yes, I did. I was part of one of those.
Yeah, but imagine that we haven't met each other, and I am a highly sensitive woman. Trust me on this. Tell me how your work's going to help me.
Okay. So I would definitely let you know, first of all, that my approach to healing is very different than a lot of others' approaches. So I want to look at you as a whole person. So you can't be separated physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So when we're looking at you and we're looking at your health, we're not just looking at your physical health. So you might come with physical symptoms, but there's always going to be underlying causations or issues from other areas of your life. So every person that comes, so if I'm doing a session for you, it's individually for you. Like, we all have different things that have happened through our lives, and all of these different things that build up start to create symptoms in our body. So we can't have a one-size-fits-all approach for health, because we are all different. We're all connected, but we all have a different story. Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't diagnose or prescribe. So my point isn't to tell you what's wrong with you or that I think this is what you need to do. What I really do is I allow the messages to come from the body. Mm-hmm. So again, there can be things like trapped emotions, fears, belief systems. There can also be physically things that are like shifted or not quite in alignment. And we allow those messages to come forth from you, from your body.
Okay.
So I'm not telling you what to change or what to do. We're just allowing your body to guide this session.
Mm-hmm. So you facilitate.
Pardon, sorry?
You facilitate.
Yes, I just facilitate. So really our bodies have a natural ability to heal themselves or heal themselves. So I'm not making your body heal. I'm releasing what's holding your body back from doing its natural job of healing.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful.
And so that's where we want to look at, you know, every area of your life, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
Yeah.
And often our symptoms are really here as a message for us, right? They're cries out for us to pay attention, that something's off, something's wrong, we need to change something.
Yeah.
And it's really, if we just continue to ignore them, they will start to scream louder and louder at us.
Yeah. I always think that if you could just listen to your body when it's whispering to you, you won't have to feel it or hear it when it's screaming.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And it can be hard for us to hear our own messages, like to really get that from ourselves. So that's where I come in. So I'm just the interpreter. I facilitate discussion. And because we're kind of bypassing the ego and we're just diving deeper into the subconscious, and we don't always have the ability to see everything of our own in our subconscious. We don't necessarily want to even go there. And so that's where it's important to have someone that's very neutral that can just allow that to come up.
Yeah. Okay. It sounds great. I think that body work is a really wonderful roadmap for what's going on underneath on all of the different levels that you talked about. So you're in your late 20s, am I right?
Yeah, I just turned 28 a few days ago.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I'll tell you what, when I was in my late 20s, I was still completely existing, surviving. I was completely shut down. So you've had an awakening very early in your life. I wish I had, my goodness me. I'm now quite a lot older than that. And can see that there's a long way for you to go and expand and become so much more. Yet you have this essence in you already. Have you had epiphanies along your way? Have you had aha moments? I know I did. I ignored a lot of them, most of them, in fact, until I was in my 30s. I just wonder if you have any that you'd like to share with us. Hi, Matt.
My whole journey is kind of an aha moment. But it's funny how you say that there's these things that come up and you ignore them. So when I actually had just graduated from high school and I was contemplating what to do with my life, my best friend, or my very close friend, it's her sister that was actually teaching these courses that I originally took, so these Bodytalk courses. So my friend invited me to one of her sister's presentations. So I think I was 17, and I went and I have no idea what she was even talking about. But it's funny because that was what I ended up doing. And at the time I was finishing high school and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I kept asking, I know that there's something that I need to do. Like there was this deep calling, and I would look through all of the papers and look through universities and nothing felt right. So it's kind of funny that it was literally right there in front of me at 17 and I could not see it. I wasn't at a place to see it. So I needed to go through my own healing and really break a lot of my barriers down to actually get to a point where I could get there. So a lot of that happened in my early 20s. So my mother-in-law was diagnosed with cancer when I was, I think, 20 or 21. And I'd never thought about my health before. I mean, I was early 20s, life was fun, life was good, and I just never even thought about it. It didn't even cross my mind. And so from going through her healing journey and seeing that the Western medical perspective was really letting her down, I just knew that there had to be more, like that there had to be something else. And so we began studying. We were looking at nutrition, we were looking at emotions, we were looking at all of the individual pieces of the puzzle. And it was like, I knew there was a way that they all had to tie together somehow. because we're not separate. So we can't just look at one piece of the puzzle. We needed to look at everything. And so through her journey and moving along through her, that was when I really started to look at my health and started to learn things and realize that there's so much more out there than what we've seen so far. And on her deathbed, she said to me, you know, I wish I had dealt with this years ago. And that just shook me. It shook me up. I just thought, you know, I can't just ignore everything in my life until it's too late. And I just, you know, we need to be conscious in our living and in our health and in our body. And it really just shook me. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to do everything in my power to address my stuff and look at my stuff and do my healing. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to do it. And I'm not going to put this off. I want to do it now.
Yeah, that's great. I think what you say there about conscious living is really important, you know, and particularly your generation. My son is 19, and I know his generation are coming through having an understanding of that. There was nothing like that when I was your age. I'm nearly 50 now, and when I was your age, you went to the doctor. They gave you a pill. And I'm sure that your mother-in-law was of the same sort of generation where we believed that the medical profession knew everything that we needed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that the physical body is always the last thing. It's when you've left your emotional health. It's when you've left your spiritual health far behind you. You haven't looked at it. You've ignored it. And then your body just goes, you have to look at this.
Yes.
And then often, as you say, it can be too late. Or it's your path, you know?
Yes, completely. And same thing with, I had gotten a desk job right out of school, and I thought that that was going to be the practical thing to do. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I thought, well, I can be an office worker and this will be great. And I was working there for about 2 or 3 months, and it was just the worst environment. And I would come home and I was crying every day. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. And one day I was typing and my hands froze. They literally froze. Like I could not type one more key. So I was panicking. I was 19 and well, what am I supposed to do if I can't use my hands? But I was so stubborn. I would have stayed there forever. I would have just, even though I hated it, I would have just thought, okay, well, this is the adult practical thing to do. And if I would have listened to my body like 2 months ago when it was just saying, this isn't for you, you need to leave, I wouldn't have had to get to the point where my hands had to freeze.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I completely understand and get and agree with you that you always get a clue. Mm-hmm. You always feel it in your guts, in your heart, whether or not this is right, whether or not this is wrong. Mm-hmm. And if we can learn to listen to that individually, then the whole of us are all going to be better.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. And what's right for me isn't going to be what's right for you necessarily.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you work energetically with distance work. I understand how powerful that is because I do it too. What do you do in your life to maintain a healthy professional status for your clients? How do you keep yourself clear?
Well, like I said, I'm obsessed with healing.
Aren't we? Everyone, yeah, who's in this game, yeah.
I'm consistently taking classes, and I love taking courses so much, and I love working with other like conscious people so much that I often coordinate them in our city. So I bring in other instructors and people to our city to share what they do. So it gives me the opportunity to take the courses and also just connect with more conscious people. So I love it. So I'm constantly taking courses and coordinating courses, and on a daily basis, it's more just trying to honor I am sensitive. And I might not be able to do things, or I might not do things the way someone else will do it, and that's okay. So it's letting myself get enough sleep. and it's giving myself the space to do my work in my own way. And it's giving myself breaks to connect with nature, to breathe, to walk. It's just honoring me. And I'm trying to live as consciously as I can and hopefully inspire others to do the same.
Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Which city are you based in Canada?
I'm in Regina, Saskatchewan. So I'm right in the middle of Canada. We're in the prairies.
Okay.
So lots of wheat fields, and it's beautiful. It's got its own beauty.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you see your practice going in the future? What's your vision for yourself and your work, and how much you're going to reach people?
So my vision before was just to work one-on-one, and I was just doing sessions, and it was great, and people were getting great results. But I really see now that where I excel is in connecting heart to heart with someone.
Okay, yeah.
And building those relationships. So I see my work going a lot deeper in the future. So working one-on-one with someone for a longer period of time. Mm-hmm. So we can really look at their life and really get to those root causes and roots of their symptoms, and just get the messages forward of what they need to do to change in their life. And I really just see doing more mentoring and coaching and healing on a longer term basis.
Yeah, so expanding your programs.
Yeah, because I feel a lot of highly sensitive women are craving support.
Yeah.
So when they're starting their healing journey, there's a feeling of being alone and feeling confused and feeling lost. And while one session is great, I feel like there's a need for support a little bit longer.
Yeah, I would agree with you totally. Absolutely. Have you got your, sorry, carry on.
No, so I'm just not sure exactly how that will look in the future. I'd also like to create a few more programs for people that are just starting out. Mm-hmm. So just learning about their sensitivity and learning about conscious living and how they can use their sensitivity to their advantage and to their benefit.
Yeah, so I see that there's actually a really big gap for people like that. So as soon as you started talking about entry level there, in terms of people entering a spiritual feeling into their spiritual life, mm-hmm. The energy around you peaked. So I would say that's something to really quite look at there, Ash.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
That's okay. Can you put your website, can you put your Facebook details, and how anyone that comes on the recording and watches this can get in touch with you?
Sure, if I can figure out.
See where it says, where we've got all this little writing in the feed here. You just need to write it all in there.
Send a message?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
There we go.
Lovely. So, thank you, Ash. That's really been interesting. I knew that you worked with people's bodies, but I have a sense that you're working along the same sort of lines as I understand being really important. So spiritual life, emotional life, and the physical life all come together. I like to add in life force, so your breath. You know, so there's a fourth dimension that we get lost. It gets lost sometimes. People hold their breath so much all of the time through anxiety and everything. But I can see how you've got lots to offer, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how that expands. Really.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Does anyone have any questions?
Well, I'm not sure if anybody's watched the whole way through, but if you have got questions, do ask us. Ash here is a talk practitioner. She's been talking about her work.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions.
How long is a session, Ash? How about that?
Well, the session's guided by the body, so they're all going to be a little bit different. So typically about 30 to 45 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it takes a little bit for the body to integrate the session. So
Sure.
mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't think anyone's got any questions here. So I'm just going to say thank you for joining me, Ash.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great to connect with you.
Hang on, there's somebody, I'm not sure what your name is. It says twin, and then you've got something. So you just got here and you want to understand and help anxiety. Over to you, Ash, go on. Can you see that?
Yes, I can. Let's see. I'm sorry I just got here, but how understand and help anxiety. So everyone's cause of anxiety is going to be a little bit different. So we can have different belief systems that trigger us into that stressed or anxious state. One of the biggest things I would say is just to look at your day and look at how you're planning your day. So if you are a highly sensitive person, are there certain things that trigger you? Are you pushing yourself too far without taking breaks? Are you taking time for yourself? Are you taking time to breathe? So this is without really knowing you at all. These are just tips and things that I go through. But as far as anxiety goes, there's often just a lot of past traumas and fears that get triggered. And then we just get into this anxious, nervous state. So every person's going to have a little bit of a different underlying fear or beliefs or things like that that are going to be triggering this anxiety.
Thank you, Ash. Jason has got another question about what is body talk. Does the body tell us about potential illnesses?
Yes, so we don't diagnose or prescribe, and we just let the body guide the session. So I've had a lot of sessions where someone's come in for something specific. So say they do come in for anxiety or something like that. And we might do 2 or 3 sessions just working on the pancreas. And you think, well, that's not what I feel like I'm struggling with. So why are we working there? But if that's the priority of what the body needs at this time, so it is very much preventative as well. So whatever the body is ready right now to look at and address, that's what's going to come up. So I wouldn't diagnose you saying, oh, it looks like you're going to have an issue with this. But if the body has something that's coming up and it's ready to heal it, it will work with it. So very much preventative medicine as well.
Yeah. I always find that when someone has trouble in the pancreas or the gallbladder or anywhere around there, that it's issues to do with their solar plexus. So their gut feelings, what's going on around them, their boundaries always have something a little bit off that doesn't work for them.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree with that, Ash?
Yes. So each body part, because we're not just looking at it physically, we're looking at the whole picture. So say if we're looking at the pancreas, just as an example. So the pancreas really works with our blood sugar and our digestion. So like Sarah said, our digestion or our ability to take in life and digest life can be off. There can also be with taking in sweetness and absorbing sweetness because it works with our blood sugar. If we're feeling depressed, sometimes the pancreas can come up. So it also works in traditional Chinese medicine with the emotions of worry and thinking. So these are all just different things within one aspect of our body that can be off or that we can look at.
Yeah. Jason's asking again, does it work like acupuncture? My understanding is no, it doesn't work like acupuncture because acupuncture lifts things and moves things, and you're actually asking the body to heal itself and to talk about what's actually going on within it.
So acupuncture would be just looking at the energy body.
Yeah.
So it would be, so if you're going to the doctor just for your physical body, and you might go to a psychologist for the mental body or for your mind, the acupuncturist would be just working with your energy body. So that would be your meridian system. So the meridians can come up in a session, but again, we want to look at the whole picture. So we're looking much more holistically. So they might be a part of the picture, but we wouldn't just look at the meridian system.
Thank you. That's a really good answer. I think that's very clear. Jason, before we hook out here, have you got any more questions for Ashley?
Oh, and I see the twin X said it's kind of like case by case. And yeah, that's just exactly it. Yeah. We all have a totally different story in life, and it's kind of hard to know what your specific root causes are without just actually tuning in and looking at you.
Yeah. He's gone anyway, sweetie.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you for everybody for joining us, and they've been great questions, and I think Ashley's got to answer them really well. Thank you for that, Ashley, and I will be sending you your copy of the recording very shortly.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Lovely talking to you.
Have a great day. Bye, everyone.
Bye.